This is the one and only T Quest. You are tuned into the T Quest show, relatable, informative, yet entertaining. Thank you guys for tuning into another show. You know I love you, right? Because without the listeners, there would be no me. Remember me, your favorite? If you're a returning listener, I appreciate you. And if you are a new one, that means as a promoter, I've been doing my job, or someone was smart enough to tell you how poppin' the T Quest show is, or maybe you just happen to check me out. Someone told you about me, and you had to do the research and see for yourself. If you haven't already, and if you're new, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at TQuestGLM. You download that TQuest mobile app in your Google Play Store and your App Store. And make sure you sign up for my mailing list from my website, GodLoveMeWorld.com, for the exclusive awesomeness. Now that I've taken advantage of my own platform, it's only right for me to share it with some guests. If you've been following me because you're smart, I've been doing a run through with authors, see what they're talking about, see what they're writing about. Could be fiction, could be nonfiction, could be stories from their imagination. It could be about their lives. It could be their therapy for their pen and pad, like me, myself as an artist when it comes to me writing, right? So see what's in their mind, what's in their heart. But I can't do it without the Black Belle herself, the one who takes the time out to read your stories, get in tune. And once she does that, she has a lot of questions for you. Ladies and gentlemen, the owner of Whitney's Escapes LLC, Whitney Lee. Coming to the stage.
Hey, girl.
What up, though?
Hey, nothing much. Chilling. Excited about today's show. You know I love interviewing the authors. You know I have my questions. And today I have some questions. And my questions are different today than last week because this particular author you have on today, stories about his life. So these are going to be some personal questions, and I'm excited because I want to be nosy.
Absolutely. So before we start, because you as the Black Belle, if people don't know, it's a reference from Beauty. I know that when we were talking to previous authors, you tell them that you actually like nonfiction stories. You like more autobiographies versus, like I said, fiction stories. But tell the people why.
Well, I like autobiographies preferably more because it's somebody's real life. And you can learn something from somebody else's struggles, journeys, and it's authentic. So you can really feel where they're coming from. And most of them are relatable because if you read a lot of stories, everybody's been through something and everybody's going through something. And it just shows you that through all the bad people been through, or even the good, everybody has ups and downs. And we like to always prejudge people. Not knowing, you see the end result, but you don't know the struggle that went there. And I love reading just to see how somebody has evolved because it inspired me. Like if I had a bad day today or a bad week or a bad month or a bad freaking year, there's always a beautiful present at the end. Like the present is a gift. So I love reading people awakening moments, like, you know what I'm saying? I love to see when they win, or if they're not winning, but the growth within themselves, because that's all I'm trying to achieve with my own personal life. So it's inspired me to keep on pushing and to share my stories to people. I don't write it, but I will verbalize it to people. Keep on going through. I've been through this. Don't just look at my outside picture and be like, oh, everything is sweet. Yes, I thank God and I'm blessed, but you don't know what I go through on a day-to-day basis. We all go through something because we're human. Nothing is perfect, but it's worth the journey and it's worth the lesson so that we don't repeat it. And today, author, I want to know if it was worth his lesson and journey too, because his story was very interesting to me.
Absolutely. Because, authors, they have the creative juices, you know what I'm saying? Like I was saying with music artists. But for the ones to put their story out there, like you are really opening some wounds. Because once it's published, you can't take it back. It's out there to the world.
Yes.
And you have to be ready and strong enough and have thick skin to be prepared for what's going to happen once they read your stories. What's going to happen once it's all out there? The questions that's going to be presented to you. Most people can't handle it. Some of them try to mentally prepare themselves, but you really never know depending on who's asking the question.
Yeah.
That's why I always hesitated a lot when it comes to writing my own stories about my life. Because there's certain questions I don't even want anybody even ask me.
Yeah. And everybody has an opinion.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And people are judgmental. And they're like, well, I just don't get it. Sometimes it's not for you to get.
No.
It's for me to put it out there. If you get it, great. If you don't, it is what it is.
Exactly.
You know? So let's have some fun. And let's bring on today's author, Shermaine.
Hello, ladies.
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. What about yourselves?
Well, I'm always
Great.
You're
I'm
already
excited because I got my questions ready.
Okay. I'm prepared. I'm prepared for the storm.
okay. So let's start with a quick introduction. Tell people who you are and where you're from.
Oh, my name is Shermaine Mahan from a small town, Marion, Alabama. A lot of people probably won't be familiar with that, but even those who reside in Alabama.
There's only two people that reside there. What?
No, I said even people who reside in Alabama will still be trying to figure out where is Marion whenever I say it. But we have some history that's tied into the civil rights movement. Of course, Coretta Scott King is from Marion, Alabama, the wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A lot of people wouldn't know that. So, we have some history in Marion, some roots tied into the civil rights movement.
Okay, y'all live. So you got Coretta, and then eventually we're gonna have you because you're gonna be in the history books, right?
No.
Whatever. So you are on this platform as an author, but what made you even pick up the pen, the notebook, the crayon, the highlighter? Tell me about that.
Well, I've always been into writing. It's a passion that started probably like my junior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I first got introduced into writing and developed a passion for writing through with poetry. So that was like my first love in regards to writing. So as the years passed, they end up translating into me becoming a published author this past year.
Okay, so let's talk about the poetry. What inspired you to write the poems that you wrote?
That's a good question. A lot of my poems come from like just my life and just dark places um, I was in during the times I wrote those poems. It was more like my refuge, a way to kind of get away from all the nonsense and those dark moments in my life. Like that was my refuge, gave me opportunity just to get away, not even think and reflect about that particular time period. Like whenever I composed my poems, like I was just able to just block out everything that surrounded me, and it was just me, my pen, and my pad.
Okay, so pretty much poetry was your therapy, so you can block out the darkness of your reality.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're in one of those moments, and you were writing. What's on the pad?
Repeat the question.
You're in one of those moments, and you're starting to write, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you focused on rhyming? What type of poetry are you writing? Is it just your thoughts, more like a diary? Like, take me to one of those moments.
I mean, initially, I was just trying to rhyme, just thinking that was the way that you had to compose a poem. But as I continued to write, I just realized like it's more about your thoughts, more about your expression. So once I grasped that concept, just basically I was just allowing my thoughts to flow and whatever was coming into my mind at the time, it's just like my pen just pretty much did the rest.
Okay, okay. Now, I take it that since you say you was doing poetry in eighth grade, that you actually did some poetry maybe for some English classes?
Yes. It was this English teacher I had, and we had a poetry assignment, and that was my first time ever being introduced to poetry. Like, I mean, I always was pretty good at English. It was never a challenge for me, but that particular assignment was a challenge, and I can't remember exactly um, what the topic was about, but basically we just had to create a poem just based on that particular topic. And I went home, I accepted the challenge, and once I returned it to her, she was like shocked, and she pulled me to the side and she gave me adulation for that particular poem, and she was the first one to tell me, Shermaine, you have a real gift. No, I'm just thinking she just being a typical teacher, gassing me up. But
Uh-huh.
when she really explained why she spoke those words, and she was just telling me about how detailed my poem was and how it just really resonated with her and how it could resonate with others. Like I believed her, like, wow, maybe I do have a hidden talent.
Mm-hmm.
So from that particular assignment, it just like things just took off for me in regards to poetry. So like I thank her to this day for giving me that belief and that confidence and helping me see a talent that I never knew I had.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes that one person for that motivation to keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it can take one person to just kill your dreams.
True.
Of course, you shouldn't allow someone to have so much control over you, but you're human. It happens, whether we like it or not. Like your teachers and your mentors, people you're looking up to, they're supposed to say over here, paving a path for you. And then you have teachers that are saying, like, what are you doing? You're not even focused and give you that tough love. And sometimes people don't need tough love. They just need love, motivation, encouragement.
That's true.
If I'm doing great, let me know. If I'm not, help me so I can get there the proper way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that someone was there to show you that you do have a gift and not just, doing it to make you feel good, but because they actually meant it, which is a beautiful thing. And I'm happy that you continue doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever entered any contests for your poetry?
Oh, I entered. I entered one when I was in high school, probably my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I a contest. It was it's kind of like a trying to say how to word it. Kind of like a more on the not on the local level, probably like more of a on a country level where you send your poem in and you have different people on the panel judging like thousands of poems. And that's probably the only time I really entered any particular contest. Basically, I didn't win, but just the feedback from my poem that I submitted, just pretty much like confirmed that this is something that I can definitely do and be good at.
Okay. Now, I know you were saying something about writing to express yourself as a therapy in like dark moments, but where was the time when you transitioned into more positive and happy poems, if that actually happened?
Oh, it did, most definitely. It just like when you're growing up, you're trying to figure yourself, trying to figure out what direction God has planned for you, like what's your purpose or purposes. So for me, I've always been the type of person who has a given, heart. So I knew when I was growing up, I didn't have many people who motivated me. Like most of my motivation came from maybe celebrities, hearing their their backgrounds and how they overcame a lot of things and became the individuals who they eventually became. So I didn't have people like I actually knew who gave me motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that my poetry can not only be therapy for me, but it can be therapy for others.
Mm.
So that's when I got into writing inspirational poems that weren't so much centered around me, but just centered around different issues that people may be going through that are not revealed to
Mm-hmm.
the public. Back when I was in school, there wasn't social media, so you couldn't you couldn't get a lot of a positivity from various people that you may know or may not know. So for me, like I wanted to inspire people who I knew and who would eventually read my poetry. So definitely, like, it's a balance. Like with my poetry, it's a lot coming from my experience. Then on the other hand, it's just living vicariously through others, if that makes any sense, to try to give them inspiration in regards to different things they may be going through.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. You're writing these poems, you're inspiring people. Talk about a moment when you actually recited it to the public.
Ooh. Oh, to the public? It's interesting you asked me that question. Because they be having like poetry slams here, and my sister, like, she's my sister. I call her my sister, but anyway, she's into poetry as well. And she tried to get me to do it. I said no, I can't do it. And she was like, "How you can't speak in front of people with your poetry that you have written, but you can speak in front of kids and teach kids and speak in front of parents with so much confidence?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I can write it down, but I don't know. I haven't gotten to that place where I can just actually recite my poetry in front of people. That's something that I'm definitely going to work on.
It's probably because it's more
Mm-hmm.
personal. So you're up there and you're showing people your more vulnerable self, which is your inner thoughts. And you can write it down, but when you actually speak it, now it's life, and people are like, oh, like you said, people are judgmental. You don't know how they receive one of the most private, intimate things of you, which is your thoughts and how you perceive things.
And then again, I'm very cognizant of how I'm being portrayed to others. Like, some people will say, "Oh, I don't care what other people think and say about me." That's not true. Like, if you care about your reputation like I do, like, I want that I want your perception, or I want that first impression to be a good one. I don't want to be like the butt of jokes. So that's just me. So that's just something I'm gonna have to,
Work on.
yeah.
No, I get that. I hate when people say that. They're like, well, you shouldn't care about what people think. I'm like, duh. Of course I'm going to care. This is life. My character is everything to me. If someone perceives me the wrong way, like, I'm definitely draking in my feelings. Because that's one thing that I take pride in, is my character. Because I'm a great person. So if someone thinking anything negative, I'm like, it has to be a misunderstanding. There has to be a disconnect. We got to fix this, because that's just not me. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm always going to care. We're in the business of entertainment. You're a writer, so pretty much it's the same media in the same realm. You as a travel agent owner, we're on the same realm of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I'm going to care. That's how you eat. Those are going to be your customers. That's going to be your clientele. Those are going to be the people that's going to be looking up to you like a mentor. Mm-hmm. It all matters to me.
Yeah.
So when you're up there, when you put it out there, they're going to receive it or not. Because I know when I used to do poetry every week, some of them could have great poems, but the way to deliver it, I couldn't receive it the way I should have.
Exactly.
So if you're not going to really, in a way, entertain me or do it properly, it's going to go right over my head. And it's the point, like, what's the point of you writing it if you're not going to deliver it right? And sometimes you got to get out your comfort zone. Like me, I'm an entertainer, but when I first started doing poetry, I froze up a little bit because I feel like it's a little bit more personal because there's no music backing me. So
yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because you definitely want them to receive what you're saying. Some people recite it too fast, a little too boring. Like, no, practice that so I can feel exactly what you felt when you wrote it.
Yeah.
Bring it to life. But now it's time to dissect your book. So before we turn it over to my lovely co-host, tell me what inspired you to write this book. Tell the people the name of it, and we're going to take it from there.
A Vision Not Seen, currently available on Amazon via Kindle or paperback. The inspiration, as I spoke on earlier, just came from wanting to inspire people. And you'll never, like, you'll be amazed at how people draw motivation from other people's story. And even when I was contemplating the idea or throwing the idea out there to some friends and family members, it's like I got more backlash than support. So
Mm.
in the beginning process, it discouraged me because the main thing that I heard from those people giving me backlash was, why would you write a autobiography? You're not famous, and no one wants to hear your story. Who are you? So initially, I was buying into it because I was like, well, this is like a new realm for me. So maybe they are right. Like I was brand new. Like I was literally like I don't know if you guys heard the phrase like being wet behind the ears. Like I was like wet behind the ears in regards to the whole process. So I'm trying to do my research, but with me, like I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe in Him creating a vision for us, creating a purpose or purposes for us. So it was just one day, He just sent me that vision that, son, I want you to do this. It's the reason why you had this idea in the first place because I had put it on hold for like a year. Like that one friend I had, she was like my biggest supporter, and she told me, she said, Shermaine, do it. And I told her everything everybody was saying and how I felt about it. She was like, okay, what's your point? Like, do you really want to do this book? I was like, yes, I want to do it. So she like, I tell you what, compose your chapters for the book. It's the first step. And I did that. I ended up coming up with like 34 chapters. I composed the chapter. I wanted everything to talk about, so everything would be in sync. I ended up putting that rough draft on the shelf for a year, and God sent me that vision. Son, go ahead and make this happen. And I did. And for like 2 weeks straight, I was working on that book. I finished that book in 2 weeks. So my inspiration from it once again was just inspiring people, basically telling the naysayers, hey, it is what it is. Forget you. I'm about to do what He asked me to do. And a vision I seen was born.
Okay. Now we're gonna turn it over to my co-host. You have the floor, Whitney.
Okay. My first question about your book, since I did read the book, it was a great book. A vision not seen. The word vision, is that pertaining to be you, like you not being seen, but you use the vision?
No, when I say the word vision, is God's purpose. God's purpose.
God's purpose not seen. That's good. I was trying to figure out, like, is he talking about himself, reading the story and how you was brought up and stuff like that? I was like, oh, I wonder if he used like switched it out. So that's good to know, like you said, it was God's purpose. But let's dissect this book a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. Um, One question I really wanted to know that's been on me is about, you talk about in your book your relationship between you and your father, and then you and another gentleman, I can't remember the name, who used to take you out on a weekend and you built like a relationship with him, and he gave you like $100, and your father found out, he gave you the money, and you stopped seeing that guy, and then find out later on the story, you was like, he might have been, could have been your father or something like that. Am I correct?
Yes.
So, did y'all ever figure out if he was your father, not your real father?
No, that's a question I still have. I had a conversation with my mom, and we never got into the details of why we end up being separated, or if my convictions were true or not. I mean, she said they weren't, but a part of me still feels like there's more to the story that I haven't been afforded the opportunity to understand or to analyze. So that's a question that's pretty much still in the air.
So, since then, you still haven't had contact with that gentleman?
I haven't. I've talked to close friends, and they gave me recommendations as far as like trying to find him, and I've called, looked for him on the internet, social media,
Mm-hmm.
but to no avail.
That was fun in my house. Like, I wonder what happened between him and this guy. Did he, since your book is out, maybe like, oh, let me read the book. Reached out to you. I was so curious about that relationship. Hopefully, they'll see our interview and we'll reach out. So like, hey, you never know. You never know. This could be something that you can give us an update about that relationship. Also, something else that happened in your childhood that I thought was very interesting. Oh, go ahead, Quest.
I want to touch on that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the book, in life. If you were to find out where he is, how do you feel that experience is actually going to be?
It'd probably be a very emotional one, just based on the connection that we had. And like I said, at the time I was a kid, so like things really couldn't be explained to me the way that he wanted to explain them.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it would be a very emotional moment. Probably, I know a lot of answers will, a lot of my questions will be answered, but I don't think it will be, I don't think it'll be awkward or anything like that. Just probably more of a surreal moment because it's like it's something that I still want to this day.
So you won't be one of those that's going to be like angry, more like, finally, I've been wanting this. Yes, you're here.
Oh, no.
No what?
No, I won't have any anger or bitterness about it. Like I would like accept that with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how like you go through life and there are just like certain chapters in your life that just haven't reached that closing point. Like that's just one of those chapters in my life. Like even though I've evolved and became a young man, doing well for myself, it's still one of those chapters in my life from 26 years ago that has yet had any type of closure. So
yeah,
that's what I want.
Okay. Okay. I was saying you're gonna be like emotional. You like hug them tight and start shedding tears, and like, what will be some questions that you will really want to know?
I'm an emotional person anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna be booing like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just what happens, like asking questions that are not generic. You know what I'm saying? Basically, me telling him, "Hey, look, I'm 36 now. I'm a grown man now, so everything that you couldn't share with me 26 years ago, share those thoughts, share those facts, or what I'm saying, whatever. Share that information with me now because that's going to do wonders for me moving forward. Having those answers and having that resolution."
Makes sense.
Okay. Good.
My next question is, since you said 26 years ago, you're 36, that makes you around 10, correct?
Yes.
What's happened? Also, if I'm not mistaken with the dates and the age, at 10 years old, you say you lost your virginity?
Yes.
That was a very interesting topic because it was very weird to me. You were at like what, a cousin party or something. Someone dared you to like, wait, what happened? Can you go in detail of what happened in that scene? I'm like, was he in a room by himself? Was he with a group of kids? Does he even know what was going on? You brusquely touched over and then changed the topic in the story, but I was like, wait till I speak to him about this. Give me the details.
Yeah, I was 10. My cousin, she had a birthday party, and the ratio of females to males at that party was probably like 5 to 1. So it was just a normal, you know, 10-year-old birthday party, and
Yeah, I
one
had a normal 10-year-old birthday party. I didn't have those my birthday party.
no, everything was normal like throughout the party until everyone started dispersing and going their separate ways, and
Mm-hmm.
I ended up spending the night at my cousin's house, and I was the lone male there, and it was probably like 7 females there, and they was in the they were in the den, doing their thing, and I was in the living room watching TV. and they called me into the den, and they playing I think spin the bottle, if I'm not mistaken. And one thing, but they had the game rigged, so like they ended up having it rigged, and it ended up landing on this girl, and she was probably like 12 or 13. She was already experienced with sex, and it, it ended up happening.
And was you guys by yourself, or did this happen in front of everybody?
No, like I'm trying to think of a game. Are y'all familiar with the game Duck Duck Goose?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big circle, and we were in the middle of that circle
Having sex. It's too much. Like, I would see what that shot. If you can have sex in the middle of all these people, how can you not read your poem? Because I'll be like, we ain't having sex in front of everybody. Your whole privates are all out. They see you doing everything.
No, I can understand that without, talking about some stuff. But my thing is, how old was she again?
She was 13 and he was 10.
So before you got your duck in the goose, before you got your duck in the goose, you knew it was about to go down before you got in the middle?
No, I thought we were just supposed to kiss. That what it was. We were just supposed to kiss, and
No, I don't.
So you didn't have no protection. She could have had a baby on you. Oh, Jesus. Woo. There was a parents.
So we got to get to the point where he was naked. He went in a circle, fully clothed, ready to play Duck Duck Goose. You're in the middle. How did your drawers get down?
She pulled them down.
And you was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you have to.
We need details here, okay, Mr. Author? Write it out.
Hey, look, peer pressure is something else, man. Like, my hands were tied. Like, I ain't had no say. At 10, everyone telling me do this. Come on, you can do it.
So you knew about it. You was aware of it, what sex was.
No.
That's what I'm asking. Like, she pulled it down. Like, what are you doing? Like, was you nervous? Was you like, talk us through that moment? Not even trying to be funny, because this is really sad because you were only 10 years old. But what was going on through your mind when she chopping your drawers, like, in front of everybody?
I'm just like, it was a surreal moment. Like, okay, this is about to happen. Okay. So I'm like, at the time I got a strategy in my head. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna give her like 30 pumps, and then I'm gonna be done.
So you didn't know about sex, but you knew about pumps?
Yeah.
Because at that age too, I was a year old.
But I wasn't active. Like, I knew about sex, but I just ain't know, the ins and outs, like someone who is like really active.
So, and you just started puberty, so that's very interesting. I was just like, what is going on here with that whole situation? I was like, where's the parents? But I have a 9-year-old son. I can imagine him next year. He won't know what the heck he's doing. He knows about sex. Of course, we speak to him about it because he is of those age. And some people at that age nowadays, are sexually active. So, that was just very, I'm like, what is he? Did he say he's having sex at a party? And is he in front of people? Like, wow, that had to be, was it like traumatic for you?
No, it wasn't traumatic. I mean, afterwards I was the man at school. I was the man, so
They told everybody too?
Really? A group of middle school kids are not going to share those type of details.
Maybe they wanted to get back around to their parents. I don't know.
Oh, please. We grew up in a small town. We knew everything.
Jesus, help me, Lord. Help me, please. Help me, please. Oh my God, those like things were hilarious to me in these stories. I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Also, in your story, you were saying how that your mother didn't let you do a lot of things. You know, do you want to like share about that, like how that affected you? Because I know that also affect when you actually lost your virginity. It seemed like it was 10 years later.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm good with the calculations because I'm trying to put it together. But in that time frame, like you had different girlfriends and stuff like that. You had, travel to different places, getting involved. But just tell us a little bit about how that was for you as a teenager, because everybody, having the girlfriends, but you wasn't allowed to go out like that. And, knowing that you had this experiences at 10, and now you up here, older when most of these things happen. Like, how was that for you?
It was tough, man. Being just being a teenager, man, like it was tough. Like even at 10 when that happened, even though I was like, a nervous wreck, it just like once I got that type of praise, once all my peers knew about it, like it felt good for a minute, like I didn't feel like an outsider.
Mm.
And just to see me go from that high to that low once I became a teenager, like it was tough, especially for a male.
Yeah.
You kind of expect that, saying with females being sheltered, but like you rarely hear that with males being sheltered. And for me, like it was just tough because I just felt like I wasn't really a part of that experience that everyone was going through. Like you said, having girlfriends and going out to different sporting events or different out spots. Like I heard about things the next day, not next day, but that Monday or that following week when everybody done experienced it and talked about whatever took place that particular weekend. So it was tough, man. It was like that was the time when things were dark for me because I was just like, wow, like I'm a teenager and I'm not experiencing anything. And it's even worse when you're just being chastised by your friends and your family, who also went to school with me. So it was just a tough period of time, just being like sheltered like that.
Yeah. And also, it seemed like you had a tough upbringing at home. Like you speak about, your mom beating you and stuff like that, and how even with your friends, like it was interesting when you were talking about like your relationship with your mom, even though it changed at the end, like how you got older, and like you guys had better amends with each other. But then you also speak upon like friends who you said like were your friends but then like wasn't your friends in the story. So how did you process all those things? Like who did you turn to, or was it just God and the pen?
It was just God. Like I really didn't have anyone to turn to. Like I had to deal with all of that on my own. And like to this day, like I just don't understand how I was able to overcome all of that. Like I don't want to curse, but I just overcame all of that mess that I went through. Like because the average child, like they will crumble under that.
Yeah.
Like not being exposed to the things that a child's supposed to be exposed to, and then just taking all that negativity from the beatings to the verbal abuse to the isolation from your friends and your family, like that is so much to deal with. And like I honestly don't know because at the time, like I wasn't half the man I am now. I nowhere near the person I am now. Like mentally, I wasn't there. Like it was just it was really tough. And just as I got older, like I started like things just started making sense for me. And like I started developing more confidence in myself and just wanting better for myself and not allowing like my past dictate my future.
Yeah. It was interesting because I was saying that to myself, reading your story, but like you went through so many traumatic things. Even the sex at 10, that's traumatic. Even the separation between the dad or the father figure you had in your life that you had a great relationship got torn out your life. Then like, you know, the abuse and then like, you know, not being able to do stuff. I was like, wow, he's going through so much stuff. But like I said, your end story is beautiful, you know? So that's why it's very important that people like you, even though everybody said, why would you put that out there? I'm thinking because they don't want their business out there. But it's not about them. It's about you and how that can really help somebody and definitely help a young man to know that, hey, you might go through all these things, but you still can be successful at the end and have a good life. But before we go to the end of the story, I want to talk about but you have something to say? You have something to say?
No, I'm just letting you rock. This is what you do.
Oh, okay. When you graduated high school and then you went to college and you fell in love with this young lady, would you like to I have some questions about that, but do you want to explain to the audience about what would she be your second love because you had your first love in high school that you got back together after this one love? You want to tell us about that? Because I do got some questions, but I don't want to be telling your whole story. So I want you to explain it and I'll just ask my question.
Yeah, man. Yeah, once I got to college, I think that when my confidence was developing because I was finally able to be with someone who shared a similar background, but more importantly, she loved me for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't look at my situation, she didn't look at my past and judge me and just basically like ignore me. Like she truly embraced me and truly loved me and motivated me to be better. And the beauty about our situation is the fact that we were able to motivate each other and build each other and lift each other. Like that was like one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, especially, you know what I'm saying, going into adulthood. Because that's something that I desperately needed because I was so lost. Like I really didn't know my purpose or what I was supposed to be doing with my life, or will I be able to shed the shame of not having a girlfriend or not having the sexual experiences or being able to go out and do various things that my peers did because that time had passed. There was nothing I could do to regain the moments. So me and her was just like a blessing because she truly helped me out when I was still lost and lacked confidence in myself.
Yeah. And then you left that school and went to a bigger school, so you left her behind to further your education. And then, so at that point, I know that's probably was very difficult for you. And also, let's say that you haven't had any sexual experience with her.
No.
That's what I read. Mm-hmm. And then you went to the new school. So how was that for you? Because now, you know, you love this person. You left the person, went to another school. I know in the book she was like, yeah, you know, you had to do, you know, you found your calling, something else for you to achieve. How was that experience, that transition?
It was tough, man. We were both talking about it like months before I finally made a decision to leave. And she supported it. She knew that I needed to go out and spread my wings because at the time I was going to a community college, so that wasn't, you know what I'm saying, like the overall like vision that I had as far as like receiving my education. And she was going for nursing, so she was able to finish at that school. But I had to, you know what I'm saying, go out and really just spread my wings. And like it's two reasons why I wanted to leave. One, I was ready to get out of my mom's house. I was ready to get out. Like I just felt like that particular time it was time to leave because like I just felt so sheltered for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I am as an adult, like I'm still staying with my mom because I felt guilty about leaving her, which is the reason why I went to the community college in the first place because I didn't want to leave her. I didn't want to feel like I was like neglecting her or whatever. Like That was just a guilt with that. So that was one reason why I wanted to leave and go to a university. And the second reason, I just wanted that experience, just being around different people, seeing a different culture, and just interacting and just mingling with just a different environment. Just see how it would help me in my maturation that I desperately needed at the time.
Yeah.
So it was definitely tough leaving. I remember the day like it was yesterday. We were both on the phone crying for about like 2 hours. Like it was getting real. Like that departure was getting closer and closer. So we both had to make that amicable split, but it ended up working out for both of us in the long run.
Yes, and then let's get to some juicy parts. So you went to school. I guess a semester over, you go back home, visit her. She moved on into a different relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're single again, and then you bump back into the first love of the girl you had a crush on in high school, right? Mm-hmm. And you start dating her. And did she have a child? Because I think you said she had a child in that story.
Yeah.
Or when you start dating. Okay, good. And then you re-lost your virginity to the high school crush. Right? Am I following the timeline?
Re-lost your virginity. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's been like 10 years. So technically you're a virgin all over again. And you're 10 years old. So that wasn't a real experience. Now you're fully developed. You know what I'm saying? You're not fully developed at 9 and 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? You went through maturity. Now everything is how it's supposed to be. You're a grown man. I think you re-lost your virginity with your high school crush, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start dating her. My question has nothing to do with what you wrote in the story, but I have a question. How was it for you dating someone who had a child, and how was that relationship between you and the child because of your relationship with the father figures that you had in your life?
One thing I've always took from not having an active father in my life was the fact that I knew that I wanted to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned in high school, like sometimes you just gotta take a negative situation that you can't change, that you can't control, and just try to pull something positive out of it. You know what I'm saying? That didn't work for me a lot of times, but you know what I'm saying, sometimes it did. So that's one instance where it's just like, all right, you know what, like you're not active in my life and there's nothing I can do about it. And we've even had a conversation about that. He was very dismissive and felt like I was making more out of nothing, and it was cool. So at that time, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove my mom wrong. I'm gonna prove anybody wrong who feel like I'm making more of a situation than what it is. That I'm like as if like my feelings don't matter.
Mm.
I'm gonna set out to prove you wrong and do something with myself.
Yeah.
So the fact that she had a child, like that, just it wasn't a negative, like it was a positive, because I wanted to love the child just like I love the mother. You know what I'm saying? I just looked at them as a package deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for the experience because it gave me the opportunity to know what it's like to be in a stepfather like role, because it's easy for me to be with a woman now who has kids. Because
are you still involved with the young lady, like the daughters? Do you still like keep a relationship with them, or?
No.
Do you want your own children?
Oh yes. Got to carry my legacy.
Exactly. And so get back to the juicy part about you losing the virginity. How was that experience now that you were a grown man and it was with your high school crush?
Nerve-wracking.
Did you say I'm gonna give her 30 pumps like last time, or were you more like I'm gonna prove myself since I finally get to do this?
I wasn't thinking neither of that. I was just like, because she was like with the previous situation, she was more, well, obviously she was experienced, she had a child, but I was just nervous because I was like, man, I hope I don't look stupid during this moment. So, but she pretty much just held my hand and walked me through the whole process.
That was very nice of her. I have so many more questions I can ask, but I don't want to put out there. Maybe we'll do a part 2, and maybe some people will go out and get this book because there's so much other stuff that we haven't even touched the surface on. More about his childhood, more about his when he was a teenager, his adulthood, his finances. You know, I was in there, him being a little whore out there in the streets. It gets so juicy, so juicy, so good. But he still overcome all those things. Even his experience in the army. There's so many different things his life went through. And maybe we'll have a part 2. And I hope everybody gets this book and read it. So we have some more questions. Maybe have some other people who might want to chime in on some things. I have a list. I could do this all day because it was your life, and it goes through from your childhood to adulthood, you know, and your experience in the army, your determination, you know, your injury, you know, everything that happened to you, finances up and down. It's very inspirational, but I don't want to give up too much of your story so people can actually read it. And I hope I gave them enough juiciness. Like, ooh, I want to know what happened in his life.
You definitely did.
And I thought I did. I tried to get a little, but I didn't want to give everything. That's what I'm telling people. It's so much more to unpack in his story, you know? So please go out and get his book because I think it will change your life and you have a deeper, you know, into his life. And I think it was really good. And maybe we'll do a part 2, like give people time to read it. And then like maybe have to ask some more questions and I can get the rest of my questions off. And I think it was great. I really enjoyed your book. I thought it was very authentic. You can tell you're coming from a vulnerable place. You didn't hold back anything, and even the traumas, the abuse. Most people don't want to talk about that. Most people, like they say, you weren't famous, but you will be. But you know, a lot of people, you're just a regular guy, talk about your life and everything that you have gone through, and I think that's beautiful that you were brave enough and had enough courage to say, I'm putting it out there anyways, because it can change and touch so many people's lives. Definitely young African-American males, but any male, but it's good to see someone who looks like you, who's been through so much and still succeed. You have multiple degrees, you know what I'm saying? And you're living your best life. You're a teacher now. And I think people should take the time to get that book, really read it page to page and find out all the great things that you end up doing at the end, even though you have so much trauma in the beginning.
Well said. Thank you.
I'm just so proud of my Padawan, you know? But yeah, y'all don't even need me on a T-Quest show. You know what I'm saying? Y'all good to go. But I want to I appreciate my co-host, Winnie and Space, for being on here. And especially appreciate you, Shermaine, for sharing your story with the world. But now that it's out there, what do you truly want people to gain from it from your mouth?
2 things. One, I want them to be inspired. Just know that no matter where you come from, if you truly believe in yourself, you truly have a connection with God, you can definitely pull yourself out of some dark places. Second thing, transparency. It's very important to be transparent because once you take control of your narrative, there's nothing anyone can say or do that can diminish what you bring to the table.
Yes. Say that again for them who didn't hear it.
Take control of your narrative. Take control of your narrative. You have to do that. We gotta get to the point where we are allowing society and friends and family to our haters to talk about us in such a light where we don't even have a voice. Like, take control of your narrative. That way, all the haters, what they may say or what they may do has no effect on you, just like water rolling off your body.
Yeah, I agree.
Water rolling off your body.
Tell your story so somebody else can't tell it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, even though you told the people what you want them to get from the book, this is your moment to say anything to everybody about you, this book, your other book, what's to come. This is your moment to sell you to the world.
To sell me A Vision Not Seen, once again, it's available on Amazon through Kindle or through paperback version. Also, my poetry book, The Evolution of an Adolescent. It's a composition of various poems dealing with inspiration, love, pain, personal experiences. It's just a great compilation, in my opinion. You're going to be able to get various things from that poetry book. So that's also available on Amazon. And last thing I want to say, I never envisioned myself being an author. 2 years ago, it was a process even getting to this point. So basically, what I like to say to your listeners, just follow your dreams. Follow your dreams. Don't expect everything to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Just follow your dreams. Have a game plan. Stick with that plan. Continue to connect with God. Listen to God. Whatever He tell you to do, you just follow it. Do not be apprehensive about if you're able to do it or if you are in a position to do it. Just listen to Him and follow Him. Also, it's important to surround yourself with positive energy. Surround yourself with positive energy. The ones who really support you, the ones who really believe in you, are going to be the ones who are going to give you that push that you need against the haters who are trying to push you back.
Yeah.
Well said. So before we wrap it up, she said wrap it up. You were so chill, you were so nonchalant this whole entire hour. Tell me something that truly makes you smile, make you laugh, make you blush. You know what I'm saying? Almost piss your pants. Like, show me that side of you right now.
I don't know what to say. I really don't.
What makes you laugh? What makes you happy?
What makes me laugh? What makes me happy? Seeing other people happy.
Well, I'm happy. So are you happy now?
Yes. Yes.
Hashtag he can't cook.
Oh, that's sad. Like, for real?
Hey. On social media, I think he be doing to get arousal from people, but I hope those gonna be real
work.
Because I'm like,
It's a Friday night. You can do whatever you want. You got the night off. The night is young. Where you going? What you doing?
Due to COVID-19?
No. In general, if it didn't exist.
Oh, I would be gone. Because I have a birthday coming up, so I'll be gone somewhere. I don't know. I'm not.
This is just.
He's just gonna be out. He's gonna be out chilling.
I don't know. I'll be out.
Watch this. Whip.
Yes.
It's Saturday. Day off. No kids. You lit. Where are you going?
To my basement.
What?
That's what you get.
Karaoke. I'm gonna go downstairs and karaoke, or I'm gonna read if I haven't read that week. But usually on the weekends I'll be reading, but I will be karaokeing it up, and that's my thing. If I'm gonna leave the house, I'll be going to the spa. Like I like
to go. Simple as that. What makes you happy?
That makes me happy.
But it's cool.
I'm a professional karaokeist.
I know you are. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys being on the show. One more time, give me your social media, how they can find you, so we can wrap this thing up.
Well, I'm Whitney on Whitney's Escapes. You can find me on my social media platform at Whitney's Escapes. Please follow me on my YouTube channel at Whitney's Escapes LLC. And like, subscribe, and DM me if you have any questions for any of your travel or event planning. And that's all I have to say for this evening.
Shermaine.
You can follow me on Facebook, Shermaine L. Mahan. You can follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, SLM8383. That's ESELEM8383.
There you go. Well, you guys already know how to follow me. You can follow me on all social media platforms at TQuest GLM. Download TQuest mobile app in your Google Play Store and your App Store. Just another segment of the TQuest show. Relatable, informative, yet entertaining. Special shout out to my co-host today who just dominated because you know what she's doing, and that's what it's all about. If you're gonna have a co-host, you gotta make sure they can elevate and increase the show and enhance it in better ways. And special shout out to I guess Shermaine, and make sure you go and buy that book. Actually, buy both books. Girl TQuest, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Stay positive, stay true, and forever be you. I love you guys. Smiley face.